Welcome to a nourishing midweek lunch hour conversation with Spokane's newsmakers, thought leaders, and popular entertainers. Welcome to Spokane Talks Live.
Welcome to Spokane Talks Live. Kent Adams here. It's a crazy Wednesday. Eric, was it snowing out there when you walked in? No. Oh, no, beautiful, he says. All right, we'll get a up-to-date weather forecast from Larry and Leroy and Eric, who are a couple of our first guests. And actually, Larry is our guest co-host today. Larry Soren, how are you?
I'm doing
okay. Okay, it is, huh? Yeah. Even having to put up with that, yeah. Okay. Welcome to the program. We're first going to talk when we come back with Leroy Payne, who is our host of Spokane Cooks, a new video show we're doing. Some fun times, and I guarantee your mouth will water. Eric Sawyer, I just kind of mentioned it here a second ago, is from the Spokane Sports Commission. Is going to talk about some great new things, hopefully coming to Spokane. Pia Hallenberg from the Spokesman Review will be here. We'll have a couple folks from the Spokane Civic Theater who are right into the Christmas holiday spirit, and we'll talk about that. And then Don Morgan from Morgan's Minute will be here to talk about investing and other fun things. It's 35 degrees in Spokane. We'll be right back.
For the Inland Northwest most comprehensive sports report, think outside the porch with Spokesman.com. For just 99 cents for the first month, you'll enjoy unlimited digital access to the news and sports news that affect you most. From EWU to WSU, from Northwest Preps all the way to the Seahawks, we're the local authority that makes sports in the Inland Northwest different than the rest, better than the rest. On your phone, on your desktop, and on your tablet. Subscribe to the digital experience with Spokesman.com.
My name's Randy James. I'm the founder and director of the Institute of Science and Technology at North Central High School. Kids are far more capable than we ever give them credit. We have $1 million worth of equipment, and we let them use it. You give them a place to play and do science for real. Instead of having to outsource engineers and scientists and mathematicians, we have kids right here. It takes a whole community to raise children. It really does. STCU invests in the community, and they're a longtime supporter of education. Collectively, we can make a huge difference. I'm Randy James, and STCU is here for good.
You hear us say it.
We are tracking breaking news in Spokane County where
We're talking exclusive.
I want to be the survivor and someone that reaches out and helps other people.
These stories you'll only see here.
My family say because he is off the streets.
This interview.
What is it like being a teenager nowadays?
This investigation. This moment for the first time.
I hope our apartment doesn't burn down.
We don't just cover breaking news, we own it.
Pretty scared, thought we weren't going to make it through.
KHQ Local News, right now.
Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live. Kent Adams here, and my guest co-host, who only shows up about every 2 months or so, Larry Soren, because you can only take me for so many times a year.
That's
right?
what the doctor told me to do.
Yeah, the mental doctor.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Larry, you wear a lot of hats, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, especially when it's snowing.
Exactly.
And raining. You're the GSI chair.
Correct.
You're the Spokane Facilities, say it.
Spokane Public Facilities District Board Chair.
Okay. And then you happen to run a company here in town, too, don't you, at times?
Kimley and Haga Company. I do darken the shadow of the door every once in a while between meetings.
Are your employees happy that you're really involved in the community because you're out a lot?
They must be, although when I come back in the office, they're like, who are you and why are you bothering us?
Name tag.
Exactly.
Name tag
right.
time. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Larry.
Well, now you've been the chair of GSI here for now a couple months.
It's been 2 months exactly today.
Wow.
Yeah.
How's it going? Are you having fun?
We're having a good time. You know, we're working on reorganizing a bit. We've got a
Okay.
new CEO in Todd Milkey,
Right,
who many
right.
of you've heard about.
Yep.
And we're reorganizing our work. We're trying to define economic development in a community manner and working with partners. And we could do a whole show on that one, and maybe
Absolutely.
we should in the future
Yes, we
because
should.
it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, good deal. Our guest is Leroy Payne, who I've known now for, 2.5 years, if he'll admit that. Tom MacArthur, a good friend of ours, and I used to go out a couple times on Fridays a month and have the best barbecue in town. But then you decided to close your place out there. And so we grabbed you up and said, let's do a cooking show. And you're now hosting Spokane Cooks.
Right. Having fun. It's a
Are
great
ya?
time.
Yeah, it is.
Great time.
Why don't you tell our audience what the purpose is? What are we trying to accomplish with Spokane Cooks?
What we're doing is we're trying to involve and feature local businesses,
Right?
along with sharing some of our favorite recipes and cooking tips for the public, making, recipes and food that's really good and simple to make.
Yeah. I noticed watching the recording of the first one, which we'll talk about here in a second, I learned things like what's the difference between barbecuing and grilling. I had never thought about the difference, but there is. Do you know what?
I burn them both, and I
Okay, but what I am intrigued with, Leroy, is the fact that people, no matter where their skill level is in cooking, because we guys all think we can barbecue or
Exactly.
grill, right? But there are things to learn that make things better, and some of them viewers might go, "I already know that." But my guess is in every show they'll come away with learning something new. And isn't that what you're trying to do?
Right, and that's what we're after, is those little tidbits.
Yeah.
For example, we talk about barbecue. I'm a competitor. I'm a grand champion pit master. I travel all over the country doing competitions. The difference between that back home barbecuer
Yeah.
and the competitor are tiny little tips.
Yeah.
That's all it is, just a bunch of little secrets.
And you tell the
And-
folks, you
Oh,
tell the
yes,
viewers, you show them
absolutely.
how to do it,
Yep.
which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is the fun part for me, sharing what I have been able to do and whatever I've had to learn, have been able to learn, and sharing it with the public.
Now we're beginning to promote the first episode. The second episode will be up by this weekend. But the first episode, what is it about?
Well, and I got to tell you, the first two episodes are about barbecue.
Yes.
That's not all I do.
Funny is how that worked that way.
perfect. I like
But I
it.
figured, what the heck? The first one, just talking about it is going to make your mouth water. I'm
Yeah.
showing you how to produce and how to make what we call a bacon bomb.
Yeah.
Meat that's stuffed
Yeah,
with bacon,
it is.
wrapped in a weave of bacon. You watch the show. It is amazing. It's easy, but if you want some good food, I'm telling you.
And we're showing them right now.
That's a great picture.
Oh,
yeah.
We're doing this during the lunch hour. You notice
Yes,
we're not
I know
eating.
that. And I don't usually get lunch
No,
on
that's right.
Wednesdays, so yeah.
Right. So that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to have fun.
Yeah.
And show how to do some of this. And like I said, the first segment was the bacon bomb. The second segment, which is coming
This weekend.
this weekend, will be how to produce my competition award-winning ribs.
Yes, and I'll tell you,
Every bit of it.
they're to die for. They really are to die for. They're the best in town. Clearly the best in town. And there's some folks that have been around for a number of years here, but they really are the best in town. And yeah, they're good.
I would say out of all the stuff I barbecue,
Yeah.
Competition, boy, it's a toss-up between my ribs and brisket.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
both
they are good.
Both are good. All right, so people can go to SpokaneTalksOnline.com and pull up the programs and podcasts, and there it is right there, Spokane Cooks. And the first episode with the bacon bomb, which everyone has got to check out, is there now.
Right.
And by this weekend, the ribs will be there. And I'll tell you, shooting the program, it was, someone had to test everything.
You threw yourself right on a slab of ribs. And
Absolutely.
protected
It's a
everybody
tough-
else, right? I
yeah.
know.
Somebody's got to
That's
do
the kind of guy you are, Ken.
Yeah, I know. Does it look like I've missed too many ribs?
No. That's why Wednesdays are this way.
Yeah. Well, all right, Leroy, thank you very much.
You're very
We're
welcome.
going to shoot some more next week. And, well, let's just let our audience figure out when we get those up in another few weeks. It'll be fun, but some holiday stuff too, right?
Yeah, some really good holiday tips and some nice little secrets that are not a big deal.
To kind of take the normal and make it extraordinary.
Very easily.
Without doing a lot more work.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Very easily take the norm and turn it into restaurant or higher quality.
One of them, I think, is going to be a dessert, and I'll have to test that.
Oh, no. You are such a giving person,
I
Ken.
know.
It is.
Yeah.
You have the smell vision, the taste vision.
Right.
Yeah, but push the button and send that out, will you?
Okay. We call that smell around.
Yeah. Leroy, looking forward to it. You're a great person to work with. Sometimes your jokes are almost as bad as mine, but it's fun.
Quite.
Yeah, huh?
Not quite.
Not quite. Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about what's going on in Spokane in the sports realm. We'll be back right after this.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting.
You to a couple of friends, Lisa and Alan Gwaltney of Window World. I've known Lisa and Alan for a number of years and know them to be honest and caring folks. They take pride in their windows, doors, and blinds. So when it comes to your home, call them direct at 509-456-5880. That's Window World of Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. And if you tell them Kent sent me, they'll give you 5% off a 5-window installation. Call them today at 456-5880.
Hi, this is Tom Sawyer of Tom Sawyer Country Coffee, and we're very excited to start our first year at our new location just on the north side of Kendall Yards. Come enjoy a great cup of coffee and see the display of coffee memorabilia dating back to the 1800s. Or pick up a pound of our freshly roasted coffee to make at home. We're open Monday through Saturday starting March 5th, or find us at TomSawyerCountryCoffee.com. Come watch us perk up when you walk in.
Welcome back, Kent Adams. Welcome to Spokane Talks Live. We are live, aren't
totally
we?
Live.
You know, the challenge is we're talking with Leroy as he's getting ready to leave and about ribs and cheesecake.
Can we go back to that?
Yeah, we want to talk about that.
That's a lot more exciting than you.
Eating,
I'm sorry, Eric.
eating to sports.
Yeah. Eric Sawyer, Spokane Sports Commission. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good. I don't think I've seen you for a couple of years. How lucky can you be?
Well, okay, if you want to go there, Ken.
Okay. We are becoming, maybe not becoming anymore, we are a sports town now, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, we really have matured into full-fledged sports. I mean, you think about what's been coming to Spokane in the last, 5 to 10 years, but the last 5 years at least.
Yeah.
We're putting Spokane on the map.
Well, that's what we're all about as an organization.
Yeah, why don't we start with what is the organization and what do you do? Let's start with that.
Well, we are essentially an economic development agency for sports.
Okay.
We use the world of sports to attract tournaments into the community. And I think a lot of people don't understand that when we're out there going after, say, an NCAA men's basketball, women's tournament that we have in the arena, that we're competing against other communities.
Right.
To get that event to come here.
Some well-known communities.
Very well
established in sports, too.
Absolutely. So we have to reach out there in that big world of national governing bodies in sports and identify events that are a good match based on our facilities and the kind of community we have, and then figure out what it's going to take to get those events to our community and the process of bidding that we go through to do that. The economics of it are pretty obvious. The examples I always like to use is NCAA basketball is a good example.
Okay.
The average spending habit of somebody in town as a visitor is close to $300 a day.
Okay.
And if you figure out that
they don't use schools and some of the other things either, right?
They're dropping a lot of what we like to refer to as environmentally friendly dollars in town that are eventually working their way through the economy and helping to pay for public services and everything else. And for for a state that relies on sales tax, we want to bring as many visitors into town as we possibly can, whether it's the convention center, whether it's general tourism, but sports. And the interesting thing about sports is if you take a look at the tourism world out there, and you have convention travel, and you have corporate travel, and you have what we call leisure travel, and then you have sports travel. Those are sort of the four big segments.
Okay.
If you studied those over the last 10 years, the one segment that never decreased in impact was actually sports travel.
Really?
And if you think about it, it makes some sense. If you've got a daughter, say, who is qualified for some sort of a national qualifying event, you may put off Disneyland, but you're for sure going to make sure she gets to that event.
Exactly.
So what we've seen is tremendous growth, a good, strong, steady growth in the world of tourism through sports. So that's really what the Sports Commission is about. But we've also found ourselves over the years, even back from the days when you were in this seat there, Kent, that we've really evolved as an organization.
Yes.
We're being asked to take on other projects. We're asked to do more in the world of sports and community development.
For example?
For example, facility development. That's
Okay.
that's one of the key things. As much as we can brag as a community about what we have to offer as a sports town, there are some challenges.
Okay.
One of them is really on the facility side of things.
Okay.
We need to do a better job as a community at keeping pace with the demands and the growth that we have. And that demand comes from two places. It comes from where we want to turn us loose,
Okay.
go out there and find more events to bring that economic influence, but also the growth that we have, that we see currently, especially in the club sports worlds.
Now, what do you mean by club sports?
Well, the best example of that is when the three of us were probably in high school, did we ever play soccer? That was a sport that we kind of had to play in PE probably. You know, you hated it because I can't touch
that
the
and
ball.
the rope climb.
The rope climbs, right. Well, what's happened in our world of sports is we've moved a lot of the school-based sports into club-based
point.
sports.
Okay.
Soccer's the best example of that. AAU basketball, club girls volleyball, the list goes on and on and on and on. So that growth out there in the world of club sports has taken on its own industry, and that's kind of where we that's really our sweet spot. We want to continue to support high school athletics, and we do quite a bit.
Right.
But we also look to the club sports world as their events, and we can attract them into the marketplace.
Well, the high school sports and so forth, though, is pretty much regional or close by. I mean, they're coming maybe from
no farther than the
Tri-Cities or
state,
something,
right.
but you know, or maybe from Coeur d'Alene to Spokane or something, where when you get soccer teams coming from Kansas City or somewhere like that, now they're bringing dollars, they're staying here for a few days. And I know Visit Spokane talks about the fact that with all the visitors and conventions and so forth that we do, we're saving about $400 or $500 a year on our property tax.
Right, it augments the budget.
Yeah,
right.
and so we would all be paying more if we didn't have this influx of people, not to mention the jobs.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So Eric, let's talk quickly as you talked about the facilities, and so let's.
I have the
maybe
feeling we're headed toward a
we're
facility
heading right
discussion.
into a facility discussion, and let's talk about the Sportsplex and the vision for that and where it sits today.
So what we did is the Sports Commission took on a project. We called it a Project Sports Initiative. And essentially what we wanted to do was create a roadmap to meet this goal of how do we meet the number of facility needs that we have. And what came out through this process of working with the local sports groups and different organizations was clearly what we needed in our marketplace was a large multi-purpose, keyword, multi-purpose indoor sports venue. Something that could support just about any kind of an event that you can think of that goes inside of, say, a gymnasium. Including track, indoor track. So
which can't be done at the arena.
Right, exactly. It's not big enough for the arena. And the arena, there's a fundamental difference. The arena is really designed for fans. It's built for the fan experience. It's one basketball floor with 12,000 seats around it. And everything built into it is to give us an experience. What we're talking about is kind of the opposite of that. A facility that could have maybe 12 basketball floors and very limited fan base.
Because there are a number of teams coming.
It's all about these mass participation sports, usually in the club sports world. So we took a look at this. We went through our own feasibility study. Our board met with Larry's board at the Public Facilities District, and we said, I think we have an idea. We have a concept. We hired a consultant who came in and basically did a feasibility study, which anybody can get to, by the way. If you go to SpokaneSportsplex.org,
It's all there on the
all right there,
Everything's right up.
Yeah.
right there. Then you can see what their recommendations were, and basically what to make it simplify. What they told us was, you guys have a great idea. You should go for it.
Okay.
Because you'd have a very unique facility, one of a kind, of only 8 in the country.
Oh, okay.
Only
That puts
one
us up
on
toward the top, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
the only one on the West Coast, west of the Mississippi.
Oh, wow.
So what does that say as a community?
It's time to own it.
We would own that market and own that,
Yeah.
and you talk about putting us on the map as a sports town. There you go.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what it is. It's a very large, multi-purpose indoor facility.
I'm afraid to ask, but what does it cost? More than I have in my pocket, I'm going to guess.
Well, it is an expensive venue, as you
Yeah.
can imagine. It's over $40 million.
Okay.
But what we're doing right now is working on a plan that we think is going to resonate very well.
Okay.
And one of the things is we've already got, it's kind of a three-legged stool. One of the things we want to do is we want to see the state participate in a funding mechanism. We're working on that with the PFD.
Right.
Larry can elaborate on that. We also,
and there's good reason for the state to be involved.
Absolutely. State benefits from this.
Yeah.
The third one is that the hotel industry.
Yes.
The hotel industry has agreed to say, raise our hotel taxes, which is passed on to the visitor.
Right.
To help operate.
Which every city has.
They do.
Right. Yeah.
So these funds would be used to operate the facility. So we have kind of two legs of the stool in place. And then the third is essentially probably going to the voters and asking for them to invest in something long term.
Okay.
And again, the investment is really for two pieces of the puzzle.
Okay.
One, it's for the economics that we can talk about, and that $35
Absolutely.
million of economic influence, but it's also investing in our youth. It's a chance for us to say to our kids, we've got a place for you to participate. We want you to be in this venue. We want you to grow your programming. And I mean, I could spend your whole time talking about why we want kids active in sports.
Absolutely. Well, I think we instinctively know.
Right.
And you're involved in the YMCA,
Right.
for instance, and a number of other organizations. And I think it's really so important. Plus, our local kids will get a chance to interact with kids that come from other communities across the country.
Yes.
Which I think sometimes we're kind of void of that here in our little protected Spokane.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and it will provide, Eric mentioned partners, and there's more too. So the PFD has worked with the City of Spokane Parks to work out an agreement for the land where this will be located. This will be located just east of the arena and north of the park.
Okay.
Currently, that majority of that site is a parking lot. Then we've worked with the county, and the funding for that portion may come out of a countywide parks levy. The commissioners are working through that scenario right now. And then there'll be accessibility for our local teams. So whether it's basketball or hockey, there will be an NHL-sized ice house.
Oh,
associated
nice.
with this. So youth hockey is a growing
Yes, I've got a
sport,
grandson.
Right. And so both local leagues as well as tournaments will be able to take advantage of that. So a lot of players are coming together on this, and we think that is a key to success rather than just one agency or one.
Right.
one
How do we
entity pushing
move?
forward.
You know the history of Spokane well enough to know that sometimes it takes 2 times or 3 times. Okay, how do we move to make it the first time? When we were going after the arena from the old barn, I remember sitting next to somebody, and then we had lost I think it was a B&O tax, wasn't it, way
Right,
back when?
correct, yeah.
And sitting next to this gentleman who was at whatever sports event it was, and he was complaining about the seats and everything else, and I said, well,
Flicking on him, maybe.
and I said, well, how did you vote? He said, well, I voted against it. I said, well, when it comes up next time, I'll vote for it. I mean, it was, okay, now I see it and now I appreciate it kind of thing. But sometimes we have to go through that. But it sounds to me like this, I mean, we've come off a national election that's talked about jobs. And isn't that what we're talking about here?
We really are. We're talking
the economic benefit,
there
which
is-
equals jobs always.
Absolutely, we're going to create jobs
Right.
through this, and it's a short-term investment if you think about it, and the return on that investment is very long-term. But the way I like to answer that question is, how do we get?
Yeah.
How do we tell everybody in town who maybe isn't a sports fan?
Right.
My response to that is, I think it's about who we want to be as a community.
Yeah.
What kind of community do we want to raise kids in? What kind of community do we want to attract investors
Right.
into, attract businesses, and attract entrepreneurs?
Yep.
How do we do that? This is part of that. We make an environment that's healthy. It's a part of the entertainment mix. That's who we are, and long term, that's the best investment we can
Well,
make.
you look at the restaurants where we are today compared to a decade ago, and you look at the, we're going to have the Civic Theater on here in a bit. You look at the Modern Theater, the Civic Theater, the Symphony, all that's going on. We're now a lot more sophisticated than we were, again, 10 years ago. Whether we're sports fans or not, some of us have grandkids.
Right.
Okay? And so will we attend? You're darn right we will. I mean, so it becomes more than just, well, I don't go to sports, therefore, I'm not going to vote for it or support it. It's bigger than that. It's the community. And you look at Riverfront Park, 42 years sitting there, and we've decided to step up as a community and bring it into the 21st century.
Right, right.
And this is our next step.
Well, and even in the non-sports analogy,
Right.
so we spend $41.1 million to build this project, but over 5 years, the total economic impact is $101 million.
That's a pretty good return on your investment.
That's
Just in
jobs.
5 years.
Yeah.
That's jobs. That's offsetting the taxes,
Right.
tax base, as you mentioned earlier. That's people actually having jobs, earning livings
Right.
off of this endeavor. So
Another piece of sports that I think people should understand is we bring a lot of people into the community, and
Yes.
there's families that are coming here. I always like to talk about the Pacific Northwest Volleyball Qualifier, which is our largest sporting event, actually by hotel stays. Is you have to ask yourself the question: I wonder who's in town.
Yeah.
I wonder who's being exposed to our community that might be making a decision down the road about relocating a company, or bringing a convention, or whatever.
And we
back
can
to
probably
visit.
all find stories
yes.
that would support that too.
And I haven't personally, I can tell
Yeah.
you about. So
Yeah.
I think that there's an economics to this that sometimes we don't always see that's
Right.
important for us as a community.
Well, and I think it comes back to what we were talking about before with Riverfront Park and this and some of the other amenities that we have are not what I would call fringe kinds of things. They are substance. They are how we want to live
They're
in
our
Spokane.
identity.
Yeah, they really are. And yes, we have the nature stuff around. I mean, how great is it? And we're one of the top retirement communities and places to live, and it's because of things like this.
Yes.
It really is.
It's a fabric, and it's not one thing, and this really will help make it
Yeah,
improvement.
we have
and
about
add
2
to-
minutes left. Let's what do we need to include that we haven't talked about? Because this is fun. Where are we going? What's coming up next, Eric?
Well, I think for everybody, we're excited to be on that NCAA run again.
Okay.
In 2018, we'll have the Women's Regionals Championships back into
Nice.
into the Spokane Arena.
Yeah.
If you've never been to an NCAA tournament, you're really missing out
Okay.
on something. Get your tickets early. And then I'm pretty confident we'll see the men's back soon to follow the women's. Can't say anything yet, but I'm pretty confident that's going to happen.
Okay.
So for those who are...
So we're reading between the lines here a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, and kudos to the Public Facilities District and the arena management and the University of Idaho, who has stepped up as the host for
nice.
the NCAA tournaments this
Nice.
last time, the last men's and the women's coming up in 18. So good things on the NCAA front.
The work of the staffs at the arena, sports commission, everybody getting together at University of Idaho and these events, for example, people, the bodies love to come to Spokane.
Yeah.
They get treated well.
Yeah,
Even the
they
TV producers, I've heard stories of the ESPN people cabling the arena making comments like, we've never been in such a clean building under the bleachers. Now, that's a subtlety, but the fact is that
it says something,
speaks
doesn't
to
it?
what
Even
this
the officials
community
like
is.
coming
The
here.
officials-
Yeah.
yeah. So they enjoy coming here.
Good.
Certainly they have to spread things around, but
Right.
that's part of why they come.
But it
back.
seems like we're getting more and more. At least we're getting our share, if nothing else, right?
Or we're getting more than our share.
More than our share.
And we can
All
be
right.
proud of that. For
Good.
a community our size, the arena is probably the smallest venue they go into for NCAA
Really?
basketball. So, which is fascinating when you think about that.
And I remember interviewing Chiefs owner
Bobby Brett.
Bobby Brett, and asking. Remember when they were going to build that, and he was complaining it was going to be too big. Well, after they
We
had
like
their,
to remind him of
yeah.
that.
Well, I did one time. I'm interviewing him and asking him. Well, now this is after their championship thing? So it's what,
Memorial
couple,
Cup.
yeah. And I said, "Are you still saying that it's too big?" He said, "You have to ask me that question, Ken." It was sort of like, okay, gotcha. What we all remember.
Yeah.
But what great news. I mean, he was wrong, and how pleasantly wrong he was. And gosh, this is great. This is great. This is good news. So we're going to keep track.
Well, we'll be happy to come back and tell
absolutely.
you more happy news all the time.
Absolutely, please plan to come back. And any last words?
No, it's great. Thanks for Eric for being here. It's been fun to work on this
Yeah.
as the Public Facilities District, and in the end, we will own it and operate the facility.
Okay.
And allows us to leverage the arena facility staff,
Yeah.
the most cost-effective management for the facility that
Right.
way. And again, just a great number of people in a partnership to make this dream come
Well,
true.
and we did this with, 10, 15 years ago with Mirabou Point and Center
Right.
Place. We did it with the convention center, and I was pleased to see the community step up for that. And so this is the next item to step up to and make our city and community even better. So
SpokaneSportsplex.org.
all right.
Learn more.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Eric. Good to see you.
You too, Ken.
And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
I'm Barbara Mueller.
And I'm Marty Mueller. We have gotten some amazing opportunities to design and build high-max cameras that we're going to go on the space station. We came up with a mechanism that we poured a year into, and we had to start over. The failure resulted in a camera that we got an Academy Award for.
The first shot, when you see Earth from our camera, there's no other moment like it.
Wouldn't have happened without that failure.
So how do you give a kid or even adult the skills to go forward? The only alternative is to teach them to think, to teach them
Community laboratory for education and fun.
the cooperation amongst people is the most important thing that we have. And STCU is doing that, and I hope that we're doing that too.
STCU.
Here for good.
Snoring can disrupt marriages and cause serious health problems. Call Sleep Better Northwest first, the experts in dental sleep medicine. Their medically approved, custom-fit oral appliances will have both you and your partner sleeping better and being more productive throughout your day. Don't wait. Snoring and sleep apnea can signal potential strokes or heart attacks. For more information, visit needbettersleepnow.com and download our health guide today. Sleep Better Northwest, the experts in dental sleep medicine.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting. Bye.
Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live, and we just keep filtering people in and out. And
It's a parade right here.
They can only take you so long.
I know the parade. Yeah. Right.
Right. Okay.
It's all about me.
Okay. It's all about you, Larry. We go back
Long time.
Long
like
time.
When
Okay.
I was 12 and you were.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. We won't go there. Okay. I don't think you ever were 12, were you?
No.
Height-wise, you
Right.
were.
No.
Yeah. We're pleased to have one of the great theater production companies here in town, volunteer in many ways, amateurs, but act like they're professionals, award-winning, I don't know how many centuries on award-winning, Spokane Civic Theater. And if you've never been to the Spokane Civic Theater, we know who you are, and we're going to come check out your house. But Chris Taylor at the far end down there, youth and adult theater director at the theater there, and
Kearney.
Kearney. Okay. Jordan. Yes. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You're the communications director there. Of course, I mess up your name, communications. All right. I haven't been in the last couple of years, but my wife and I and my daughter and I have gone many times over the years, and I'll tell you, you guys do a bang-up job. It is as professional as it can be. People have fun. The audience is involved, and you've got some great things coming up in the next couple of months. So let's talk about that.
Wonderful. Absolutely. This upcoming month of December is going to be very, very busy. A lot of holiday shows. Entire family.
Okay.
We're going to begin this coming up weekend. We're opening a Charlie Brown Christmas.
Okay.
That is almost needs no explanation.
Yeah, no
It's
kidding.
just-
No kidding.
If you're a fan of the Peanuts
please don't
comics
sing.
growing up, or if you've had an opportunity to watch any of the videos that come out around Halloween or
Yes.
Thanksgiving or Christmas, then you know the story. And we're taking what we all cherish and remember from the life on stage.
wow.
So you're going to see a real life Snoopy and a real life Charlie Brown and a real life Lucy, and you're just going to be able to sit in the theater for 45 minutes, watch your favorite memories come on stage.
Fun.
So just great fun for the entire family. Then the very next week, we're going to be opening a show in our studio theater called Trial of Ebenezer Scrooge.
Oh, okay.
So you hear Ebenezer Scrooge and you think A Christmas Carol,
Yes.
a traditional story that I think many of us are. And this story, the trial of Ebenezer Scrooge, takes place 1 year later. And
Okay.
Scrooge has decided that he was not too happy with the way the spirits treated him on his journey. So he has brought the spirits into court and
Okay.
he's suing the spirits for kidnapping, slander,
Wow.
defamation of character, stalking, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. So the spirits,
crazy.
Jacob.
This must be the American version.
Yeah.
So Jacob Marley, Christmas past, Christmas future, they have to come to the stand and they have to testify about the events in question, and then they've hired a lawyer to defend themselves.
Oh, of course.
And so if you're familiar with A Christmas Carol, you get to watch this new story from a different perspective. And if you're not familiar with A Christmas Carol, you still get to just come in and laugh your head off at just the silliness of putting ghosts on trial. It's very, very fun. Again, another family-friendly show. So we have some fantastic offerings for the whole family at the Civic.
All right. So talk about how people can get tickets, but what does it cost?
We're very, very understanding of where we all kind of are in current economic times. And so Charlie Brown Christmas is extraordinarily easily accessible.
Cost effective?
Yes, thank you. That's
Okay.
the term I was looking for.
We didn't want to use cheap.
Exactly. That I was trying to find a word that
Yeah,
was better than that, and you beat me to the punch. Thank you. So $10 for adults and $5 for children.
Fun.
So very, very affordable. That's the word I wish
Affordable,
I found a
okay.
moment ago. There
And
we go.
the important thing to know about Charlie Brown is that it is performed by our Academy students. So I think
Okay.
ages 10 through 13.
Oh, really?
in this cast. Mm-hmm.
Fun.
They've had about 2.5 weeks to rehearse. And the tickets are $5 and $10, and it all benefits our scholarship fund. So
Oh,
we can
fun.
keep bringing more kids in to
Yes.
learn all the fun of theater.
And that's important, isn't it? My wife is a paints, and one of the things that she keeps complaining about is that we have really kind of regulated and put away some of the arts in our schools and what's going on, and it really helps with the mind development and all of that. And this is an opportunity for young people to stand on stage and get some practice.
You know, I have to add, my daughter's soon to be 21, but when she was in her younger years, as just a little kid, about 7 or 8, she was in the youth drama classes.
Oh, lovely.
Now, she never went into drama, but I think the byproduct of that was her confidence, her
Yes.
speaking
Exactly.
ability. She wants to go into
Good
business.
point.
This gives her. So it's not, I think there's some huge value, no matter what you choose in your life, to go
Yeah,
through
it's the
something like
ability
that.
to collaborate and work with others, and that self-confidence.
And welcome to the work world, because that's
Right.
going to be required, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, so that's Charlie Brown. What about the Scrooge?
Trial of Ebenezer Scrooge are $18
Okay.
for all tickets, and we even have a jury box, so you can choose to sit in the standard audience section, or you could choose to be a juror.
Oh, really?
And have upfront seats for the trial,
Wow.
and have some interaction with the cast from
Oh,
time to
fun.
time during the show. So we wanted to make that an accessible option for anyone who wanted to really get
Well,
down
now, how
to
is that going to work? Are they going to render a verdict?
Well, the judge, I can't give away the verdict,
Oh,
but the
okay.
judge will render a verdict.
Oh, the judge will. Okay.
And the one thing I will kind of tease is that the trial gets so out of control that the jurors actually are rendered somewhat irrelevant by the end of the trial, because the judge has had enough of everything that's happening that the judge just issues a verdict without consulting the jury.
Okay, a bench verdict.
There
All
we go.
right.
We've got to see this.
Yeah, isn't that kind of how you operate
Right,
your company?
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
They tell
This
me.
is the first time. This is the first time that we're actually doing a holiday themed show this time of year in our studio theater.
Okay.
It's a special engagement. So yeah, Chris is at the helm of that. It's
And the studio is the small theater in
yes
ground floor.
on the ground floor.
Okay. All right. So what else is going on? What are there other performances after the first of the year other than holiday stuff? I would assume.
We actually have running right now, opened on Friday. We have Plaid Tidings on our main stage.
Okay.
Which is a quartet of 4 men that sing
Okay.
holiday songs. And
Oh, fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Good. All right. And so how do people get tickets to that?
You can go to our website, SpokaneCivicTheater.com, and find all the information there.
All right.
Or our box office is 325-2507.
Okay. And then after the first of the year, you will be having what?
Let's see, after the first of the year, we'll be moving into A Little Night Music, is that correct?
A Little Night Music.
So if you're a fan of Stephen Sondheim, that's a fantastic
Okay,
show to
yeah.
come check out. And then I believe...
Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't
We
believe
actually
I
have
forgot
one more
that.
before the end of the year.
Wow.
We're actually working with the Bing, Friends of the Bing.
Okay.
We're co-producing a radio play version, 2 nights, the 23rd and 24th of December of It's a Wonderful Life. We have Mr. George Bailey right here.
I was going to say, I think I heard that on the radio today.
Oh, good.
A promo for that. Yeah. Okay. And that's when? December?
December 23rd and 24th at the Bing.
At the Bing.
6 o'clock
Okay.
both nights.
But you guys are kind of helping to organize and work with the Bing and...
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And what does it cost to go to that?
Oh my! I want to say $21.50 for adults and $13.50 for students.
Okay.
That's on Bendini.com through the Bing.
Okay.
So we close Trial of Ebenezer Scrooge on December 18th. We go into our first rehearsal December 18th for It's a Wonderful Life.
Of course.
Wow.
Okay. Are you taking Christmas off from directing and all that?
I think I get Christmas Day off,
Oh,
so I'm
okay.
very excited about that.
Well, we'll see if we can't change that, right?
Just like Bob Cratchit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, great.
But we went
Great.
in all the earlier the next day.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Well, let's remind folks where they can get more information and tickets, because we're all on the website today, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So remind folks.
Best course of action is to go to our website, SpokaneCivicTheater.com, and the theater is spelled R-E. And that will direct you to any links that you need to get tickets and get some preliminary information about the shows you might be interested in.
Okay.
Ticketswest.com is also another option
okay.
if you'd like to purchase tickets as well. And if all else fails, or if you're not internet savvy, then you can give us a call at our box office. Again, it's 325-2507, and we can direct you accordingly and answer any questions you might have.
Even
about
people with landlines can call, right?
Absolutely.
if those are still alive and exist,
A rotary
yes.
one.
Right. There we go. Exactly.
I have a friend who has one.
A rotary?
Tom McCarth.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got one in his.
Tom,
Yeah, he's
yes.
got one in his kitchen.
When we did our Charlie Brown cast, went to River Park Square
Yes.
to open Santa and welcome
Yes.
Santa. So
He
we
does
got to
that
work
every
with
year.
Tom a lot. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm sorry for you. We'll have a moment of silence. No, Tom and I go back a number of years. So, well, this is fun and exciting. And again, having attended Civic Theater, you guys do a great job. You really do a great job.
Thank you. We're gaining a lot of momentum, and a
Yeah.
lot of wonderful things are happening over there.
I just have to add one
Yeah.
personal comment. So I've been working for several years on a nonprofit called Spokane Fantasy Flight,
Okay.
where we take 65 children to the North Pole. We actually
Oh,
fly
yes.
them to the North Pole, and we won't get into that. But for many years, we borrowed costumes,
winky
particularly
coats.
for the guards, of which I am one, to fulfill our role as being at the North Pole, guarding
Okay.
Santa and the children. And the Civic donated those to us every year, and finally, just a couple years ago, just gave them to us. So
That was me.
thank you. Actually, I
great.
remember now working with you on that. And
Very happy to help. That's a
supporting
great
another
program.
nonprofit on a very cool.
You know,
event.
and that's what's so good about Spokane, is that we don't just put our arms around our own little organization. We reach out and work with everybody, and that is, and you find that, I'm sure, all the time.
I just actually got the Spokane Arts Awards honorable mention for collaboration. So
All
that's
right.
something that's really close to my heart. And
Yes.
I really love to embrace this community.
All right.
Well, we appreciated it, and the guards appreciate the lighter coats for
Yeah.
us as we
You are
wander
welcome.
around the North Pole.
Thank you for what you do.
So you're a guard, huh? Isn't that
Yes,
kind
and
of
I
like?
have a picture, but I wouldn't dare show it to you.
No, you wouldn't, because it would be up on the
Right,
screen. You know
exactly.
that. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this.
For the Inland Northwest's most comprehensive sports report, think outside the porch with Spokesman.com. For just 99 cents for the first month, you'll enjoy unlimited digital access to the news and sports news that affect you most. From EWU to WSU, from Northwest Preps all the way to the Seahawks, we're the local authority that makes sports in the Inland Northwest different than the rest, better than the rest. on your phone, on your desktop, and on your tablet. Subscribe to the digital experience with Spokesman.com.
Hi, this is Kent Adams, co-host of Business Talks. I'd like to introduce you to a couple of friends, Lisa and Alan Gwaltney of Window World. I've known Lisa and Alan for a number of years and know them to be honest and caring folks. They take pride in their windows, sliding doors, and blinds. So when it comes to your home, call them direct at 509-456-5880. That's Window World of Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. And if you tell them Kent sent me, they'll give you 5% off a 5-window installation. Call them today at 456-5880.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy, reducing carbon emissions by more than 18,000 tons. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.
Welcome back. Spokane Talks Live. Kent Adams here with Larry Soren, my guest co-host. How you doing? You surviving?
So far, I'm holding on. This is great. It's wild ride.
You started off with Leroy and
Right.
his jokes, and then the Civic
we went
Theater
from
and
food to entertainment, sports, and now I guess it's money.
Yeah.
What's left?
Well, it always costs money.
Yeah.
Where whatever we've done,
Right.
it costs money.
No
Don
free
Morgan,
lunch.
no,
there you go.
no free lunch. You're
No
right.
free
No,
lunch.
well, for me on Wednesdays, there's no lunch. Okay, that's just the way the day goes.
Probably not the worst thing that could happen to us.
No,
No.
it probably isn't.
Nope.
Yeah.
Push-ups, push-backs.
Yeah.
Pushbacks. Okay. Don Morgan, Independent Wealth Connections. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm really
All right.
good. It's been a great year.
Yeah. It's
It
been
really
a crazy year.
It's been a crazy year.
Yeah. A lot of unexpected things and a lot of expected things, and you brought your crystal ball again.
I did.
Yeah.
That's
I could make a
great.
joke, but probably shouldn't.
No, don't.
Okay.
I know your jokes.
Yeah.
So last year I predicted a number of things. I
Uh-oh.
said low and predictable oil prices, low
Yes.
and predictable interest rates, peace, and by that I meant no war anywhere where one government was fighting another.
Okay.
And for the most part that was accurate.
Yeah.
You could argue a little bit of the Middle East had Russia intervention.
But the Middle East is the Middle East,
Yeah.
too. There's always something going on there.
And I'm almost right on this one that the U.S. would transfer power again peacefully.
Okay.
Almost made that.
We'll get,
And then more and more amazing advances in technology.
Yes.
That one's an easy, cheap one.
Okay.
For the coming year, because the unexpected, at least to most people, happened on the election,
Right.
and Donald Trump won, a completely different economic, public policy, and foreign policy regime are coming to Washington.
Right.
And so we're not going to see more of the same old. Now, what
We've
we are
already seen a change, and the markets have responded too.
Yesterday, the Wall Street Journal had a report from the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, the so-called Group of 22, the First World. Their economic team believes that the Trump policies will more than double the GDP in the U.S. next year.
Wow.
Bloomberg today had a report out of Goldman Sachs that said that every sector looks attractive right now. I've never seen that before.
No.
Ever. Maybe in March of 2000, but I don't remember.
Okay.
It was a long time ago.
And I read yesterday in a real estate newsletter that a consumer confidence survey had the highest ranking since I think the recession.
Yeah.
Which is speaking well to the economy.
Right.
Well, Black Friday was good. Cyber Monday was
good.
good.
Yes.
There are winners and losers.
But there always are.
Yeah, but
I mean,
the winners outnumber the losers this time significantly.
Right.
And so this coming year, some of the things I see are tax reform.
Okay.
Which will include
Which can only get better.
There are people that would argue that, but I agree
Yeah.
with you. And the tax reform they're talking about could create a burst of investment activity.
Right.
Because among other things, they're talking about reducing the corporate
Tax,
rate.
right.
and giving a amnesty of some sort to overseas money to come back home.
Ask Carrier.
Yeah, Carrier's another example. Well, Carrier's an example of what happens when you get engaged instead of having academic debates. And not that I want to sound critical of the current administration, but
but they also do defense.
oriented.
They also sell defense items.
Yeah, well, Carrier is United Technologies, which, among
Right.
other things, does Sikorsky helicopters.
Right.
And Otis Elevator and Carrier air
Right.
conditioning. And
Right. And they can see the handwriting on the wall.
Well, and if you ask them, they didn't necessarily want to go to Mexico, but the cost of doing business in the U.S. had grown excessive.
Right.
One of the predictions that I make is that the Trump administration will, to one degree or another, roll back regulation.
Right.
Regulation costs money. Now, the question is the regulation doing something good? In some cases, maybe. I'd be hard-pressed to find one that I'd be a fan of. But the fact is there's a cost to the regulation.
Yes.
And when you take that burden off, small companies do better with less regulation. Big companies can afford it.
They can kind of hide some of it.
And move
the
to
cost.
Mexico.
Right. Yes. Okay.
All right, so one of my predictions is gently rising energy prices.
Okay.
Because the demand is going to go up.
Yeah, because we're making more things.
We're making more things.
Right.
Gently rising interest rates.
Yes.
Partly because, and this gets into the pinhead stuff about pricing of bonds.
Right.
But when there's a demand for bonds, when people want safe money, they drive the price up and interest rates go down.
Sure.
When they're ready to take their money out of safe places and invest it in real estate, in
Right.
small companies, in stuff they want, the demand for bonds drops. And when the price of bonds drops, the interest rate goes up.
Uh-huh.
More pinhead stuff. When interest rates on the long side are higher than on the
Are you a
short
pinhead?
side,
I am. I understand
okay.
it.
Yeah.
you get what's called a healthy yield curve.
Right.
When
right.
interest rates are higher on the short side and lower on the long side, you get what's called an inverted yield curve, and those generally mean a recession.
Right.
We've had a flat yield curve,
Yes.
which meant we don't know. But we
Right.
could tip either way. Now it's tipping better, healthier.
Right.
That's
Right,
what you're seeing.
right,
there.
right. I
Because
think-
we need growth.
We need growth.
Yeah.
I stick with more and more advances in technology. Boom Aviation is talking about moving to Spokane and creating the first modern supersonic transport, which
Right.
is beyond exciting for an aviation buff.
Right.
And then finally, I still think, even more than under the current administration, we're going to have a lack of country-to-country warfare.
Okay.
Peace.
Okay.
And I think we're going to bring a lot of our troops home.
Okay.
And all of this is good.
Yes.
Where it's going to get tough and where it's potentially scary is the Trump doctrine on trade is bilateral trade agreements instead of multilateral trade agreements.
Right.
That is a retreat to pre-World War II trade practices. There is no one alive today that understands that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the potential for oops is higher.
That's a high risk, right?
But the potential rewards are much higher. Here's the analogy I use.
Okay.
If you've ever, God forbid, been on a church committee,
Okay.
you got to be nice to everyone, number one, because it's a church committee. And number two, you're trying to do something.
That's why I'm never invited on one.
Oh,
okay.
No, it's...
Yeah.
But everything gets watered down
Yeah.
and not much gets done.
Right. Right.
When
Play-
you
they
and
play
I
it-
want to do
they play it
something-
safe.
Right. It's a
Yes.
safe... but
Comfortable.
If you want to take some risks
Yeah.
and get the rewards...
Right.
Remember, our country was founded by these crazy Yankee traders.
Right.
They'd get in sailing ships and sail around the world to make money.
Can you imagine?
I know. So, overall, very optimistic for next year, with a couple of elements of concern and fear, just more for the unknown than anything.
Sure.
And anytime I'm this exuberant, I worry. Does all this make sense?
It does make
it
sense,
does.
and even we looked at in our business, typically in a presidential year, real estate transactions flatten
Yep.
typically
Okay.
because of
People wanna
uncertainty.
Yeah.
They don't know what the rules are going to be
Right,
in a
right.
new administration. Strangely, just like the election didn't make sense, this year was not that year. And
Really?
our transaction volumes were the highest ever. I've talked to my competitor over at Black's office. They will say the same thing.
Really?
So I
Best year
think
ever.
the only thing I can come
Is that
up with
unusual here in Spokane, though, compared to other places?
Well, I don't know necessarily. I think real estate in general has performed well over the last year
Okay, okay.
as an investment class. But the transaction piece has grown. And I think, frankly, people, just like the election, said, I don't know. It doesn't make none of this makes sense. I'm just going to go do what I do.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're going to keep plowing forward.
Tired of waiting.
And we don't see a slowdown.
No, really.
Interest rates, everybody kind of gets a little edgy about that, but let's look at where they are and where we've come from. I mean,
well, I remember
real.
getting a 10% home loan.
Up 10.5 was my
40,
first mortgage.
50 years ago, and happy to get that.
I was very happy.
Yeah.
In 1993, I told my wife this 8.5% loan we're getting is the lowest rate we will see in our life, which I didn't have my crystal ball then.
Right.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
I agree with you. If interest rates went from a 3.5 to a 5.5, oh darn.
Well, and the side benefit of returns, think about the retirement. So we're a retirement community, and think about the income potential at that point as the retirement class grows in our community, and they have not had returns off traditional interest-bearing investments. And so if that were to go up a couple of clicks there, the disposable income goes up in our area. So the market can definitely absorb a moderate.
It's when we have these extremes, and right now we've kind of had the low extreme of interest and so forth.
We've been in negative interest rate territory for the last year on government bonds through a third of the world.
Right.
When I was in school, they told me that can't happen.
Right.
They were wrong.
Yeah.
And that's an indication of deflation,
Right.
severe deflation in a way that's dangerous. What I'm seeing is a benign inflation coming back into our system.
Right.
I didn't talk about, because I wanted to stay positive, the debt picture. We have too much debt.
Right.
Both in the United States as a government, in the United States as a country.
But if we have more people working and more jobs, that will help with that.
Enormously.
Yeah.
And here's the other part. More people with jobs means more Social Security revenue paying, and I'm getting closer to Social Security.
Well,
I want to encourage people.
I get it. Okay.
We're here to support Kent.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Keep working, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so pretty much across the board positives with, like I say, a little bit of worry here and there. What I'd say to the average person listening is don't go running out and doing things because of this broadcast.
Right.
Instead, sit down and make a plan.
Okay.
Come up with...
You always say that, and that's really what's important.
Yeah,
Right.
well, it is.
Yeah.
If you have a plan, you're more likely to succeed than if you don't have a plan.
Right.
And if you have a trusted advisor, and I can actually quantify this, you get better results than if you don't.
Okay.
The key is you've got to trust them. And
Do you know somebody?
I do. I know a good group.
Okay. And they would be?
IndependentWealthConnections.com.
Okay.
And we'd love to talk to you.
Yeah. And so they can reach you
509-931-1088 or www.independentwealthconnections.com.
All right. One of the things, and I've said it before directly to you, Don, is that I've found over the years that you can ask a question, and if he doesn't have the answer, he knows somebody that does.
Yeah, it's a great resource.
And it really is. I mean, to me, you're the starting point, and even though I haven't always followed your advice, but I mean, I can get good advice or you'll get it for me.
Correct.
And that's what's important, because the rest of us are out there. I mean, you know the real estate industry, backwards and forwards and commercial and all that. And we all have our own expertise. But the long-term investment and all that is not my background.
Right.
You know, and so we have to go somewhere and ask those questions. And you've always been very helpful. So
Well, it's been my
thank you.
pleasure.
Yeah, great.
This is fun.
Great, Don. Good to see you.
Larry, thank you for
bet.
hosting.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you survived it.
I am. Another one. Check it off. It'll be another 2 months maybe.
Okay.
I'll recover and we'll be back.
after the holidays,
Right,
as long as
right.
Scrooge doesn't come,
I
right?
might have to go see that, by the way.
Yeah, it sounds interesting,
That's my
doesn't
favorite Christmas show.
it? Yeah, and you've got a lot going on, both at Kimley Haygood,
Yes.
and then with the Facilities District. I'm not going to say it properly.
Spokane Public Facilities
Okay.
District.
And you're chair of that now.
I am the board chair this
Oh my
year.
gosh!
Correct.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
you just don't know how to duck.
No,
do you?
I seem to always make the meeting when I should be missing it. That's a little reverse.
Yeah, but you got to be careful if you don't show up too,
Right,
because then they
it's
give you
dangerous
double
either way.
assignments.
Right,
Been there,
exactly.
done that. And then GSI.
Yes.
You got another 10
months, but I'm not counting.
Yeah, 10 months and no days.
No,
But
that's
who's
right,
counting?
based on today.
Well, that's great. You know, it's important because both of you are involved in our community in a variety of things, and that so exemplifies Spokane.
It does.
That people step up, because you could spend all of your time operating your business. You obviously have talked about it's been a good year, which means it's a busy year.
It's been very
and the
busy.
same thing.
Oh my gosh.
Same things for you. But you give back to the community, and that's what I think makes Spokane so very unique. in our area here.
It is a great place to live.
It
is,
really
and
is.
we're proud to be a part of it and proud to do it.
Yeah,
I
great.
agree.
Thank you. Well, thanks for watching Spokane Talks Live. We'll see you next week right here at 12 o'clock.
Spokane Talks Live is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. To recommend a guest or topic and to watch or hear this program again, go to SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Join us next Wednesday at noon for an hour of great conversations on Spokane Talks Live.
Hi, this is Kent Adams, co-host of Business Talks. I'd like to introduce you to a couple of friends, Lisa and Alan Gwaltney of Window World. I've known Lisa and Alan for a number of years and know them to be honest and caring folks. They take pride in their windows, sliding doors, and blinds. So when it comes to your home, call them direct at 509-456-5880. That's Window World of Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. And if you tell them Kent sent me, they'll give you 5% off a 5-window installation. Call them today at 456-5880.